Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Coach. I'm getting another week started off. Although last week didn't go exactly as planned, I'm gonna hopefully make the right adjustments to make sure I stay on track, make sure that I can keep the progress that I intend to keep. So for nutrition, let's talk about something kind of important. It's macros, and you can follow me over on the Instagrams and kind of see my perspective on how I treat macros. For me, when I go grocery shopping, it's one of the first things I buy. I generally like to get them on sale because it's the most expensive of the macros. Buy your proteins first and cook your proteins first. At least you got, to me, the most important of the three and the most neglected of the three, because carbs and fats are easy to come by, generally easier to prepare. When it comes to actually creating a meal or designing a meal or customizing a meal based on macros, it's really helpful to have like MyFitnessPal, because you can just scan things in. You can change portions really easy. You can set servings up fairly simply. If you're someone that's kind of macro focused, this is really helpful when you're building a meal, is to put your protein first, and then you can kind of tailor your carbs or fat based on your percentages in calories. Like for me, I'll put out my meat, and then I'll select either my carb or my fat source, and then I'll select the sauce that goes with it. And this is how I keep my meals interesting. I keep variety, and carbs and fats generally have long shelf lives, things like that. Proteins expire pretty quickly unless you're going to keep them in the freezer. That's a hot tip from Coach today, is to keep proteins in your freezer. So if you weren't able to go shopping, or you got busy on the weekend, or whatever day you do meal prep, you at least have something you can make to get you through for a few days. I kind of overdo prep because people in my household eat some of these meals. Really simple to do this. You can make this stuff taste good, make it for the normal population, and most people won't know the difference. And when I say it's got 35, 40 grams of protein, they kind of, like they don't understand. It's to make a balanced meal. Execution is a whole nother thing. I've had many meals I made that are terrible, and I just eat them because, it's something I made. And, I try and fix it up with seasoning sauces, and in the end, some of them are just bad. And so that happens. And when you're getting good in the kitchen, it's really important to just kind of know your kitchen, learn about cooking. When I started this venture 8 years ago, I knew nothing about cooking. My wife did all the cooking. I just knew how to heat up TV dinners. That's where I started. For my nutrition, I generally ate a lot of fast food. So if you're new to nutrition, kind of one of the first things you can prioritize is going grocery shopping, doing meal prep, and cooking. You have to find what works for you and what flavors you like. And if you prioritize that protein, that's a great start. Hope that helps you. So that's enough on that. Let's get on the next topic. Now for training this week, it's going to get a little interesting. It's really important to properly warm up, and that's one of the ways we prevent injury. Personally, what I like to do, especially if it's just the gym, I like to go light on my first set, just to get the body and the movements down and the squeeze based on, my muscles being cold. Another little hack I have is actually when I'm driving to the gym, I don't turn on the air conditioning. I make sure to start sweating on my way to the gym. If it's the winter time, I get as hot as I possibly can, wear warmer gear, and really get those muscles warmed up. Cold muscles are not good for working out on. Same thing with running. I don't just go sprint out of the gate, walk my first lap, and then I do a light jog my next lap, couple extra laps before I even get to running my laps. As much as we all want to prevent injury, generally when you're pushing for performance, you're kind of teetering that line of, am I going to get the maximum out of this workout, or am I going to go a little bit over and potentially get a little too much or overtrain? So that's kind of the constant battle. Even if you're experienced in this, in the moment of intensity and pushing, things can happen. Now, fortunately for me, I didn't feel any pops, breaks, tears. I think I'm just dealing with maybe some extra tightness and soreness. Let's talk about what we do. What do I do? This is my opinion, and this is just how I do things. I always suggest seeing an actual doctor or a physician or someone that can really help you when it comes to injuries. I am taking some precautions. Number one, I'm doing modifications to some of my workouts and exercises. Feel like that's kind of one of the ways you can still train. And when there's something that doesn't feel right, my advice is always to stop. If you're trying to get that extra rep, really to get to failure, beyond failure, better to be on the side of precaution. Years ago, I always had that concept of, hey, we want to push past failure, right? To get that growth, that extra stimulation. It's a new territory for the body. Now I no longer do that. Once I hit 40 years old, the body is breaking down. It's not getting any better. And in order to train smart, I've learned to stop, to listen to some of the signs. If you're new to fitness, you don't have to destroy the body every workout to get progress. If you think you have to train super heavy to get results, that's not true. I got to work on form, and you got to build up to those weights. You don't just go lifting heavy weights. Like I've dislocated my shoulder, stupid behind the neck press. And that was 6 months getting my shoulder to feel kind of normal, and about 3 years until I was able to sleep on that side comfortably. I'll get my workout in, and I'm generally not sore the next day. but I know I'm progressing because whatever baseline I have, I've pushed past it. I just think it depends on whatever your goals are. When it comes to habits for this week is a reduction in binge eating. It's something for me and specifically that I kind of struggle with, can be categorized as an eating disorder. The challenges are actually kind of planned. Those calories I kind of map out in advance. When it comes to binge eating, I'm specifically a nighttime binger. Just getting into the pantry, raiding it, getting chips, goldfish, candies, things like that. The calories in general, they kind of add up, a lot less nutrient dense. I generally don't eat much early in the day. So the reason is that's because of how I train. I don't want to get sick if I'm training a lot of athleticism and endurance and cardio. I have to have a minimal amount of food in my stomach, otherwise I generally want to throw up. In addition to tracking, say, our weight and pictures and things like that, I also like to do an Inbody scan once a month. The more you do it, the more it's about the law of averages and you start seeing a bigger picture. If you start looking at that over a year, you can see a trend on where your body's going, where it's been. But it's one of those habits that I have and something that I like to do. And like I said, it's only once a month. The gym I go to provides it. That's pretty much all what I have in terms of habits. Let's just kind of wrap this up. Injuries aren't the end of the world, especially minor injuries. I want to make sure that I'm still progressing, and you can still progress in injury. Pain is subjective. There's a lot of variance in, our uniqueness. Listen to what your body's telling you when you're training. If there's something that doesn't feel right, then stop. When it comes to nutrition, it's important to balance your life. There's meals that can be fun. You don't have to be all nutrient density when it comes to dieting. Make sure that you like your diet. If you don't like it, then change it. Not everybody needs to make these changes, but I know there's some out there that are looking for ways to do it. They're tired of eating the same old stuff or eating healthy and not getting the results, because there's a bunch of ways you can lose weight, lose fat. It's really going to depend on your environment, your genetics, and et cetera, all the different things that go into creating a lifestyle, which is a combination of the psychology and the physiology of who we are. So I'm going to have to end it there. Going to recover this knee, and I'll see you in the next video.